Ndifuna Mohammed, the Executive Director of Justice Access Point, a local NGO working on countering atrocity crimes, violent extremism, hate speech, statelessness, and the promotion of rule of law and human rights. I have been involved with the human rights work for quite some time now, and at the helm of a number of civil society initiatives, especially on issues of human rights, including actually the Stakeholders Forum on UPR. CSOs are raising a couple of issues, but perhaps the key issues here include the violent clampdown on peaceful assemblies. And the other is cases of impunity manifest in security forces that are managing public assemblies, where there have been blatant violations of human rights, including even shooting of citizens. These have not been addressed in a manner that is respectful of human rights. The other issue of concern is in regard to freedom of association, with particular reference to NGOs. There are provisions within the NGO Act 2016 that severely limit the work of NGOs, particularly Section 47, which makes it difficult for loose coalitions of NGOs to work because they are impelled to register and operate more like NGOs themselves. The other issue of concern that is being brought to the committee is the unexplained and unaccounted for break-ins in offices of NGOs. We have witnessed umpteen break-ins. These are reported to police, and we have not seen any of these cases concluded or perpetrators brought to book. And that leaves the sector in a state of uncertainty as to whether the state is to provide them protection or not. The other issue of concern is lack of independent investigations into human rights violations that have taken place in recent times involving loss of life. CSOs are recommending a number of things, and I agree with them. After all, I'm part of civil society. One of the issues is to have the NGO Act amended to remove the inimical section 47, which stands in the way of the work of NGOs, particularly the freedom to associate loosely through coalitions. The other amendment probably we would be asking for is the amendment of the Police Act itself to ensure that provisions that undermine freedom of assembly are addressed. Now that certain provisions of the Public Order Management Act were annulled, it is incumbent upon the state to expeditiously amend the law so that it is in tandem with our constitution, but it's also in tandem with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. We are also calling upon the state to investigate the human rights violations that have occurred, and that includes establishing independent mechanism to be able to do so. We are also asking the state to ensure that freedom of assembly is respected, and where there are violations, investigations are taking place so that persons that have breached these rights are brought to book, so that there is no impunity. We are asking the government to ensure that freedom of association is respected and put in place safeguards to ensure that that is the case. including removing some of the hurdles like burdens of verification and validation for NGOs that are already in the books with the National NGO Bureau. On the other hand, we are asking government to capacitate the NGO Bureau so that it's able to do its work without necessarily improvising on mechanisms that are burdensome to NGOs. It should be able to function through its structures, district structures like the district monitoring committees. These should be resourced and facilitated to do their work so that there is no improvisation that is a burden to the NGOs. Between now and when the state submits its report, we are asking citizens to take an interest in the recommendations that we have made. We are asking them to contact their members of parliament. We are asking them to contact members of the executive, particularly the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Justice, to contact the Attorney General and a couple of other actors that are key within the state structure, so that our recommendations are taken into account. These recommendations are useful recommendations that will help the human rights record to improve. They are not against anybody within the government structure.